Mr. Tony. I said that I have on here the sand is presenting, but it's all a family affair anyway, so I think you all know one another. You may know Chris a little bit better than Sam, but come on up. Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, first of all, to everyone in the club that's contacted me via text, cards, calls, to check on my well-being last week. I really appreciate it. I'm doing very well, and I'm happy to be back here today. Back in about 1996 or 97, I was assigned a trip overseas for several months, and I was pretty down in the mouth. And my kids got on the phone one night and said, "Dad, we want you to go with us on this trip." I said, "Well, I don't know." They went on a trip the year before with our youth minister and a bunch of young people from our church, and it's AppalacianServiceProject. Well, I didn't know much about it, but they needed an adult, so I went. Little did I know the impact that trip would have on me, and also the impact it would have on those of us that attend Memorial. AppalacianServiceProject is something that our church supports very strongly. It's a very good mission outreach activity that involves our youth and many of the people in this community. As I look around this room, I probably can count 10 or 11 people that have been impacted directly by participation in AppalacianServiceProject. So I thought it would be a good thing today to have somebody that knows a little bit more than me come tell us about that project. My son Chris has been the leader for the last several years of the project, works in concert with Rodney Denton to put on this trip that involves, in some cases, we've taken, I don't know, probably 40 or 50 youth, along with the adults that need to go for a chaperone. We came to know some very special people that many are sitting at this table here over that activity. So Chris is going to tell us a little bit more about the AppalacianServiceProject. This is my son, Chris McCullough. He's Vice President of Manufacturing for McIntyre Metals here in town. And I've heard it said today he's a very good prospective member by some. I don't know. We can convince him, but thank you.
I told Chris I got to fix this on the screen. It's bothering me. But I can't fix it, so I'm not going to fix it. So Chris, go ahead. I didn't spell project right. And it's not because it's not a joke with the Appalachia area. It's just I didn't spell it. It's just a tough word to spell. It is.
But thank y'all for having me today. Dad asked me, I don't know, a couple months ago if I'd be willing to come and share some thoughts about ASP and in particular our relationship with our church and what it's meant to us. And so I'm try to do that justice. So 27 years ago, Glenn Kenyon, who was our youth minister at the time, decided that he wanted to mix things up with our youth group a little bit, and we were going to take a trip. So he had stumbled onto something that he was passionate about, something that he was willing to invest some of himself into a cause, and he encouraged a group of about 20 of us to go on a fun trip. One of them is in here today. We were heading to Grundy, Virginia to serve for a week as volunteers with the AppalacianServiceProject. With absolutely no idea what we were getting into. We raised money, participated in training, and we followed Glenn into the mountains to perform home repairs for those who were less fortunate. What I found in the years since couldn't be any further from that. Our groups have worked on porches, roofs, bathrooms, foundations, ramps, electrical floors, bedrooms, underpinning, sheetrock siding, and a laundry list of other projects that have made homes warmer, safer, and drier. In that work, sometimes I found people in extreme poverty, or honestly, their lives in shambles. But more often than not, I found hopeful people. People proud of where they're from, excited to share of themselves, what they have, and their stories with anybody that will listen. As I think about it, there isn't anything less fortunate about that just people in a tough situation that need some help, people that need some hope. ASP was founded in 1969, long before me, by Tex Evans, a Methodist minister, because he felt passionate that young people could make a difference in other people's lives. His experiences working with other service organizations in that area that were focused on home repair, and with his experience with high school and college age young people, gave him hope that a generation of people could be affected in a positive way, and that change could be felt in their own communities, and not limited simply to Appalachia. His philosophy of service, that we accept people right where they are, just the way they are, is something that's been a guide for the organization long after his death. His passion and willingness to invest in himself and into a cause that he believed in started with 50 volunteers that completed 4 homes that first summer. The organization has grown and has seen more than 440,000 volunteers participate in over 19,000 homes being repaired. Quite a legacy for a guy that wanted to find a way to match the energy of youth for the cause that he believed in so passionately. Because of the decision Glenn made in the spring of '96 and the excitement generated that first summer, Memorial's been participating annually in ASP since. For a week each summer, parents send their youth and a handful of adults. We pack our clothes and tools and travel somewhere into the Appalachian Mountains. Excited about the possibility of deepening relationships with other people and our hosts, developing skills that may or may not be developed in the comfort of our hometown, and inadvertently slowly changing the person that we are and that we hope to become. Over 27 years, we've had roughly 850 participants for Memorial, work on approximately 150 homes, and provide about 125,000 hours of service in 4 different states. So what have we learned over that time? What have I learned? I've learned that it's best to try to listen to the people I meet with an ear of compassion, empathy, and understanding. People do not need my judgment, they need hope. I've learned that I'm my best self when I approach life with a willingness to learn, grow, and change. As much as we all, and I'm old enough to do this now, as much as we all like to opine about the good old days, there's a reason that the windshield is larger than the rearview mirror. Hope is usually found in looking forward. I've learned that if I look at people and situations through a lens of love and grace, I'm slower to anger, overreact, and ultimately make decisions that I regret. Hope, after all, is what enables our love and faith to endure in all parts of our lives. I've learned that great big things, impossible things, often start with small passionate ideas uttered uncontrollably from someone's heart. And when that's paired with a team of committed allies, wonderful change can sweep over people and their communities. And above all else, I've learned that hope, or the absence of it, is remarkably powerful in shaping who we are and what we can accomplish. I witnessed a man with one leg climb a hill each morning with a cut-off crutch for a prosthetic, cheerfully tending to a garden and his guests, full of hope and promise for each passing day, sharing his harvest with a stranger as his family, all the same. I've seen people conquer fears of heights, tight spaces, gross things, bugs, a lack of skill or self-confidence, because of the hope of what's to come was greater than their fear. I've seen those that thought they couldn't accomplish prove themselves correct. And I've seen those that were willing to gamble on themselves accomplish so much more than they thought was possible. I've seen people so hopeless and embarrassed about their circumstances that they refuse to leave a home for a week while we work on their house, missing out on the joy that relationships can most certainly bring all of us. I've seen young families and older widows encouraged and lifted up and more hopeful because of a week of strangers and multiple weeks of strangers pouring into their home to make their lives a little bit easier. I've seen adults find purpose and kids find direction to their lives while working together on a roof or in a bathroom or sitting proudly on a completed porch, enjoying a cold drink with a homeowner at the end of a long week. I'm challenged as I grow older to translate those lessons into something that's actionable in my life day to day. It's hard to replicate the feeling of being away from the distractions of our lives and the perspective that that offers when we're knee-deep in the muck of the day to day. Do you, try your best to be compassionate, empathetic, and understanding when faced with new situations, people, or circumstances that we don't like or that we don't understand? Do you genuinely approach life looking to learn, grow, and change? Are we focused on what our lives and our communities can become if we are looking forward in hope rather than backward with a feeling of despair for the future? Are we slow to anger? Are we willing to work with people that we disagree with on a fundamental level to accomplish things that we all know at our core are good and right? Am I willing, are you willing, to really invest yourself in that thing in your heart that you just can't let go of? Are you willing to stand up and support someone else's passionate utterance because you believe in them and are hopeful in what a small thing can accomplish? In your day-to-day, your interactions with colleagues, customers, spouses, children, the homeless, the hungry, the unemployed, the Republicans, the Democrats, those that share your faith and those that don't. Are you a light of hope to the hopeless? Are people leaving their interactions with you better than when they arrived? For 27 years, and I've been there for 26 of them, I've personally seen and felt what can happen when we commit ourselves to something bigger than ourselves. Hear that again. Commit ourselves to something bigger than ourselves. When we focus on solving problems rather than serving our own self-interests, what can happen when we commit to being curious rather than judging and listening rather than speaking? I personally felt on ASP what can happen when someone else's passion turns into a commitment for a lifetime service. As I look around the room today, I see people that have donated money, donated time, and have participated in the trip themselves as volunteers, as adults, as kids. I can reflect on the sacrifices of others, and I feel compelled to move that needle forward and challenged not to let the lessons of Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, and Virginia stay there. I'm challenged to continue listening, learning, watching, acting, and hoping that what's to come is better than anything we thought possible. As we all leave here today, my hope is that you too will see the power in believing in yourself, your community, and what we can accomplish together to make the future a little brighter. I told an employee once that reputations are not built on what we say we're going to do. What are we willing to do? So thank y'all for having me. Apparently I'm supposed to take questions. I realize that. Apparently Peyton is prepared with lots of questions. So, if any of you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I don't know how this works.
How can people in this room support the kids who are trying to go to ASP this summer?
So that's an interesting thing for us. The group, when we started this, was largely made up of kids from Memorial. And they had meetings. And as time has gone on, the kids are not all from Memorial. And they're from situations where they don't have means. And so it costs money to do these things. And so if you'd like to help, you could write a check to Memorial for ASP. You Michael Williams is here, I think, every week boarding over this. My dad's here, they can make sure that money goes to the right place. You can pray for us, while we're up there. You can be encouraging to people that you see that are doing it. But, yeah, there's all sorts of ways to get involved. Yes, ma'am.
Chris, what week do you guys go this year, and where will you be going?
So we are going the week of the 4th, we go July 2nd through the 8th, and I have no idea where yet. They won't tell me that until probably 2 months out. I don't know yet. I've asked for West Virginia or Kentucky. I will not go West Virginia, so we're probably going to Kentucky. Not going to Harlem County.
Yeah, I was gonna ask something in relation to that. How do y'all choose where you're going?
We don't.
They choose it.
They do. So we, I think their goal was 15,000 volunteers this summer. We submit an application, it's not really an application. We select a week that we'd like to go. We usually pick the week of the 4th because it's easy on adults that honestly have vacation, so people don't have to burn a full week of vacation. We'll select places we would like to go. They generally try to geographically get folks somewhere that's close. So I like West Virginia, but people from the Northeast get it because it's closer to them. So yeah, they'll select that for us. And they've got a full-time staff of 20 people that are in Jonesboro, Virginia. Or Johnson City, Tennessee, sorry.
Any questions?
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Chris, for that, really cool presentation and to enlighten us on some of the things that happen. If you're like me, I've heard a lot about ASD from Beth and I worked together in July and other folks as well. So I just think it's an awesome thing if you're interested in supporting that, then please talk to Chris.